Hello. I'm so, encroaching on your space, too. I'm, super leaning
I have
today.
all the space, so...
Hello, and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 338. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I am Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. It's Monday, February 27th, 2017.
The short month of February, which is messing me up.
My dogs are unhappy because their dearly beloved father is not in the house at this exact moment. And they're very angry about that. So if you hear them barking, sorry, just ignore it. So yeah, it's Monday. Been feeling kind of crummy all day, so I haven't got a ton of anything done really, but we do have lots of stuff to show and to talk about, so that's
We do.
good.
Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
Totally up to you.
Why don't you go?
Okay.
Are you near
I'm in the middle of a row, but
row?
I'm pretty much always in the middle of a
Well,
row.
I'm a mess at the end.
Okay, well...
Could we speed race?
Could we?
Let's see.
I think we did this once.
Yes, I'm done first. I don't know that this was something that I wanted to win. Oh, I don't have sock blockers with me. That's okay. So I am knitting on some Desert Vista socks in the Wildflower colorway. Thank you, my friend. And, except I almost took out an eye with these. I'm doing a double gusset heel, which is by... That sounded like a question.
Yeah. By Christy Payne.
Yeah, so you can see the two decrease points, I think. Let's see. Can you see that there's one there and that there's one there? So instead of decreasing down this line right here, where there would typically be decreases, there's two decreases on the bottom of the foot. So, and I made my heel flap way too long. I just compared my heel flap to Leslie's heel flap. It's way too long. Because, here's why.
If the color repeats were shorter, the heel flap
wouldn't be
would
an issue. So I have this thing where I don't like splitting things in the middle of the colors. So really I should have stopped halfway through the white, but I just kept going because I don't like stopping in the middle of colors. So my heel flap is extremely long, which means my gussets are extremely long. But it seemed to fit okay. What didn't fit is actually... So the majority of my socks in it from the toe up. And now, even though I did a twisted... I'm totally going to take it out an eye. Even though I did a twisted German cast on, it's not quite as loose as I need it to go over my calves. So I almost need... But this part's, plenty loose. I almost need,
Jenny's surprisingly stretchy.
Her bind off, but reverse engineered.
Or you could do a twisted German, but do it on a couple size up needles.
I don't want it to look sloppy either. I don't know. Or I could just, instead of casting on 64, I could cast on 72 and then go decrease down on the next row to 64. I don't know.
I would do it after the ribbing.
Yeah,
but
probably.
But then your ribbing would be kind of loose.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got issues. So many issues. So this is the first sock, which is done. And this is the second sock, which may get done. Stupid short months. So last year, Susan was kind enough to give us an extra couple days because it was a stupid short month because February is short. And it only has 28 days. I have no idea. That's a super weird stitch, too. What is that?
I don't know. A loose stitch where you're
No, it's I don't even know what that is.
Show it to them because they're I don't know what that is.
Super weird. So that weird blue stitch there, I don't know what happened there. I have a weird blue stitch. It looks like, I don't know, I think I picked up something weird. That's what it looks like. I don't know, it's a weird picked up stitch. So I started the second part of the double gusset on these ones. So hopefully I have 3 more repeats to go. I have 2 more yellow stripes to get through. If I can get through these, at least 1 yellow stripe today. Plus I'd like to get to the dark orange stripe. That would be good. So the next, not this coming dark orange stripe, the next one. If I could get that done tonight, then I'd be...
We could sit and watch Great British Baking Show when we're done.
We can. So, if you don't watch the Great British Baking Show, I'm so sorry, but Netflix added 2 more seasons, and their earlier seasons, one's with Howard, And he was on the Christmas one too, which made me, and I knew that there was some like custard disaster from watching the Christmas one, and there was stolen custard. There was drama on Great British Bake Off. But anyway, there's a new season of that. And I've been watching that and alternating between that and Midsummer Murders mysteries because I can't watch too many Midsummer Murder mysteries. I have dreams about scary British women trying to murder me in my sleep if I do. So,
I've been alternating between the Great British Bake Off and the Beastmaster, which is like a American Gladiator style.
So they keep recommending that to me, and I'm like, why are you recommending this to me, crazy Netflix? But they do. So that's not even the last thing that I have working on. This is the first thing. But I keep setting this aside, which is why it's never going to get done, to work on my sweater. So I'm doing the Radiate sweater from actually what we're going to review today, Interpretations Volume 4. And my animals have been helping me so kindly. I'm knitting it out of hand spun. So this colored part is hand spun. And if it looks wonky, it's because it's got short rows to make the back higher.
It doesn't look wonky.
It does have short rows. See how that's higher than the front?
I believe you, but I'm saying it doesn't look wonky.
Yeah, it's not bad. And then this is, so right here, there's this little, it goes down a little bit. Totally ran 3 stitches short. Didn't realize it till the first row. So I totally just didn't over the thumb cast those on, and that made it better. It wasn't that I miscounted, it's that I can't read numbers on patterns. I assumed that I knew what I was talking about, and I did not. Anyway, so I've gotten into the colorwork section. And the gray is from Ross Farms. It is a Jacob. Look, I'm returning your needles to you.
Aww.
You're welcome. It is one of their heritage and rare breed fibers. It's Alice. Yay! I get a sweater out of Alice, and she's a Jacob sheep. Look at her picture. She's so cute. So I'm using one skein of hand spun. That was spun to me from Lynn Zim out of some Gales art. And then that. And eventually it will be a sweater. I'd love to have this done before we go to Portland. Don't know that it's going to happen, but we will see. I have some other tasks that I have to finish before then because my coworkers keep having babies. That is how they roll. But I don't know. We're not really doing baby showers at my school anymore. Like, they're just not doing them, which is fine, but then what happens is I totally forget that people are having babies until after they have their babies, and then I have to knit something real fast before they get back. But it does give me like 4 weeks of
time
to knit something. And look at my giant fat squirrel bag that this is living in.
That is enormous.
It's awesome. It's like the Charmin bear. He's just chilling in the woods. I think this is her sweater size. I don't think this is an Erin size.
The Charmin bear commercials always bothered me.
Their new, not logo, but catchphrase bothers me, and I can't remember what it is now, because I put something about going. I don't know, it bothers me. Whatever. I'm not in I guess I am in that demographic, so I guess the most popular demographic for, late night, at least, is that,
18 to 35?
Well, no, I'm out of that demographic. It's something...
Not yet, you're not. You got a few more months. No, well, a month left in that demographic.
Joanna Spring sent me an email Insta message saying happy birthday month Eve. So that's awesome. It made me super happy. I'm really enjoying knitting that sweater, which is why the sock is not getting done, because it's very addictive. It does use an over the loop increase, which I tried to do a video of, and my animals helped me so much that it didn't get done. But next time, I think that was the only time it uses it too, so I don't even have that, but I'll show that to you all how I'm doing it, because usually when I just do that as a cast on for underarms, I do it around the thumb. Mm-hmm. But with this, I'm doing it because it's knit one, purl one. You're going from a purl to that increase. So I was doing it around my finger, and it worked a lot better. But Anyway, it's been a really simple, stress-free, besides my animals being jerks, knit, which I'm enjoying. And if I would just put stuff up, they couldn't be jerks, but that involves putting stuff away. So I'm hoping to get the yoke done on that maybe this week. I'm on section 2 of 4. And then I can just zip down, like the rest is just zipping down with some waist shaping. And then sleeves. And that would be pretty awesome if I had a new sweater, a new Hohi sweater to wear to SKP when I'll see Hohi. That would be pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
I do have a couple days of spring break before SKP. But I also have a pair of socks. Not these socks, but another pair of socks to knit in the meantime for AE Hill. And some spinning to do, because I'm not at my pound yet for this month. I'm at 12 ounces. There's some stuff February? On the wheel. Yeah, but there's some stuff on the wheel. So, we'll see what I can do. I can only do what I can do. And I feel like I got a lot accomplished this week. Anyway. So, those are the 2 things that I'm knitting on that probably just took 45 minutes. That people are like, why are you still talking?
I'm only knitting on one thing at the moment. I want to be knitting on like 17 different things, but I would like to finish this, and then I would like to knit the other fingerless wrister thing that I did, but
from the Joanna Johnson Sherlock book.
Yeah, I just haven't even cast it on yet, but it'll go after this because it's only a 2-row repeat, so it's really easy. So the only thing I'm working on right now is Nightingale's Eye. And this is a Kate Carter Evans of Infinite Twist pattern. And it comes in a kit form. Although I think now you can get the pattern without the kit, because it's been a certain amount of time. So it's this center out square diamond shape. And then you knit from the side out on both sides. So this one side has been done for a couple of weeks. And then now I'm working on this side. All the yarn, it's 2 different yarns. It's a mohair nylon blend, and then the others come in cakes. I'm on my last cake. I just started my last cake today. Well, like 10 minutes ago. So hopefully be done this week, since it's really the only thing I'm working on knit-wise.
What else would you be working on if you wanted to work on more things? Like, you want to work on more things, what else would you be working on?
I want to knit a couple of not sweaters, summer like cotton or hemp tops. So I can wear to SSK.
I like how I'm planning on things to wear to SKP, and you're planning on SSK, which is probably more of an achievable goal.
I've been farming out sweaters for a little while, so I've already got a Granito, which is a Hohi pattern that I can wear to SKP. I've got a Breathing Space, which is a Veera pattern I can wear to SKP.
You have the one that you knit out of the red. The mustache yarns.
Yes, Even Flow. That's a Hohi pattern. And then I have one more Veera thing, but it's not a sweater. It's an accessory.
You have shawl.
Yeah.
Shawl study? No.
Line break. No.
No, you have a line break.
Stripe study.
Stripe study, but you have a line break too, because I knit it for you.
Yep. So I have plenty of stuff to take.
I feel like you have another Veera, or not another Veera, another Hohi on the needles still.
I do. It's Recoleta. There's no way it's going to be done in time.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if I knit only on that, maybe, but it's one of the ones where you have to juggle different charts.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't have the attention span for it at the moment.
I want to try back on your Breathing Space before I leave today, because that, I think, is going to be my next sweater after this one. Well, I might break it up and do like a Tinkan Knits barley, or not barley, but what are those called? Barley's one of the flax. Thank you.
So anyway, that's all that I've got. I've got finished object. I'll show real quick. So my Desert Vista Dye Works February socks are done. This is War of the Worlds, and these are for me. And I'm really, really like. They came out very nice. I dig this color a lot.
I like that a lot. Those are very pretty.
I would buy this color again. I really like it. It came out very nice. I like the contrast, and it's not my typical colors. The red is for sure, but otherwise
the peach is not. It's a good peach though with that purple and red.
Yeah. So yeah, they came out nice. They're for me, so they're between a 9.5 and a 10, and that's it.
That's it. Well, I have 2 finished objects and some spinning.
Overachiever.
Well, this one, the one that I'm wearing, just needed
a block.
Bind off basically 3 rows, including the bind off and a block. So this is the Decemberist. It is a pattern by Melanie Berg. It uses a bulky. I used a bulky from, what was it, Harrisville?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little bit rough for this. But, and one thing that I wish I had gone, it did block out to like a decent drape, but I almost wish I had gone up 1 more needle size to make it a little bit more drapey. And I did weave in like 30 ends. So, and I always block and then snip my ends, and Leslie does that too. I like the colors a lot. It's just not super, super soft. Like, I wanted this to be my, cuddle up under, super warm, super soft shawl, and it's not quite there. The wool that it calls for is actually like an alpaca silk blend.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see that being much more luxurious and soft, and Leslie says it looks like a Jane Austen shawl.
It does.
It kind of does, and it's probably very period specific for that, because I could see that being like the bulky, not super fine fibers being appropriate for knits of that era. The other thing that I finished is my little boxy. It's got sleeves.
It's wee tiny.
It is, but like I put it on Instagram and people are like, I guess they think it's for me, and they're like, can't wait to see it on you, and I'm like,
that would be hilarious.
I can like the sleeves are about as big as my pinky, like literally, little pinky arms. But yeah, I think it came out okay. The contrast in the sleeves was bothering me at first, but because they're both the same, I think it looks pretty good. I was thinking about taking some leftover of this yarn and doing the little like heart patch from the heart on my sleeve, and I might still do, I don't know. I want to gift this to her tomorrow, so I probably won't.
You could do a little embroidery, so you don't have to do a patch, but just embroider it through the stitches.
It takes time.
It really doesn't.
Well, I already told her I was going to give it to her tomorrow because I wanted pictures of Lucy in it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, her child, this is a 6-month size, and her child's 3 months old, but wearing 6-month-old clothing. And of course, it's supposed to be like 90 in Mississippi tomorrow, so it's totally wool appropriate.
It was 36 yesterday, but
season appropriate clothing. So the dark pink is separate colorway. It's from Daisy Knits. It's a little bit of superwash merino that I got later, and then the middle section is Hello Yarn, in a one-off colorway. And so, yay, hand spun! Yay! This is like my 3rd hand spun project this winter, which makes me super happy. I think it came out super cute.
Yeah.
I would totally knit it again. It would have to be for someone I really like, though. Like, I like this coworker, but this is a baby shower gift because it is like 400 yards of fingering weight is a little bit much. It would have to be like you.
Not gonna happen.
Or someone else that I really, really like.
Although, don't get me wrong, at this point, we have so many nice people that we know and we've met and viewers that if either of us were to have a baby, we would be like inundated.
That's true.
With knits, we wouldn't have to knit anything, and that's lovely and wonderful, and I would enjoy that, but not gonna happen.
Leslie's not gonna have a baby.
Nope.
I did do a stretchier bind off on the neck because I wanted it to be nice and loose to fit over babies' heads.
Because babies have notoriously fat heads.
Yeah, and I did a little bit of a stretchier bind off on these sleeves too, so that their little fat pudgy arms could fit through. So this is going to Laura Lucille.
That's the baby's name?
That's the baby's name. She goes by, her mama calls her Lucy. So, yay! And she's the one that I knit the flax fingering weight sweater out of. The flax light for. out of the Marigold Jen yarn,
Oh, yeah,
and I
yeah.
got like tons of pictures of her in it, so totally knit worthy.
Good.
And she's the only kid that's female that's the right age. I tried to convince Becca that Oliver should wear it, but so I did spin the pink. I spun 2 ounces of that and got around 200 yards. The other thing that I spun this week is on the
nice.
device.
I like that dark yarn.
Yeah, it is Hello Yarn. And it's a wool. No. It's a down breed.
Which is wool.
Which is wool.
South down?
I don't know. I can't remember. It was in last week's show notes, I think. I can't remember. Crud. Maybe it's South Down. Sounds like it might be. I'll look it up in a second.
Here, I'll look it up.
I only got 300 yards, which did not make me super happy. It does have a nice tight twist because it is going to be for socks.
I can't see through Laura's hand to get to the show notes.
But anyway, I'm enjoying it. It's going to be shorty socks for me because with 300 yards, I can't do a whole lot. I don't know.
South down, well aged.
Yeah, so it's South Down. It is South Down. Good for you. In the well aged colorway. So 300 yards of a 3-ply. And we'll see how it knits up into socks. It's not a priority knit, but I'm always been in love with Joanna Spring socks that she does, and she does a lot of down breed socks. She does not do superwash for socks, so I wanted to give it a try when this one came through.
I feel like you have like the speech bubbles and comics above your head today, and they're just empty. Like you keep looking for words.
I do. It's been a long day today. I don't know why. I read an entire book at work. It's just been long. I've just been tired. It's been a Monday, y'all. The most Monday of Mondays, and we only have 2 weeks before SKP.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to get on stuff. One of the things that we're doing a swap with SKP, and it's like 100 yard or less item for your purse, and I need to get something for my swap person. So I need to get on that too and go shopping. That's so hard.
It's such a problem. What is it called? Obligation.
First world problem. So anyway, that's what I'm working on today. My blank speech bubbles above my head. My light bulb that's usually up there is kind of like
Joe versus the volcano. You got that fluorescent.
Yeah, the brain cloud.
It's such a terrible, wonderful movie.
It's so good and awful at the same time, and it's like one of like 4 or 5 movies that Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan are both in.
It's a young Meg Ryan too.
It's a young Tom Hanks too.
Yeah. All right, so we have a great book that we're going to review
yes,
this
we
week.
do. It's so great that I couldn't wait till we reviewed it to start knitting out of it.
All right, I'm going to move this a little bit so we can see.
Excellent. So this is Interpretations, Volume 4.
Mm-hmm.
It is a collaboration that Joji and Veera
They do each year.
and they look at individual words and interpret them differently.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one word themes for each section.
And there are 6 sections in each collection.
And so this one, and I like that Veera and Joji tend to model their own garments in here too.
So this volume's words are gather, chromatic, magic, fragile, direction, and hidden. And of course we'll skip the pages that have actual knitting directions on them because this is a paid for and is not owned by us pattern. So.
Yep. So the first one is Gather. And this book does retail for 20 euros, which is around $22. This is a coat. I like the top of it too. And then there's a sweater by Veera. So the coat's by Joji. The sweater's by Veera. And the coat is just, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's called Winterfolk. It's got a really interesting sort of cowly hood and a simple detailed panel down the front.
I think it would be great to pair with like leggings and boots.
Yes. Yep. I didn't realize that the panel was mirrored on the back. That's a really nice detail.
There's a hood on it as well.
So you get the basic information on the first page with great schematics for the main areas that you're going to want to know about, which on this piece are the bust and the arm circumference.
It's sized from a 32 all the way up to 61 1/4. It does give you 1 to 2 inches positive ease directions, so it does let you know how much ease for each piece as well.
Yeah, and so this one is knit in a light worsted weight yarn using size 7 needles, which is good because in a coat you don't want to be knitting it out of a lace weight. That would take forever.
Yep. It will make it a little bit heavy though if you're doing a larger size.
Yeah. And then we've got Veera's pattern, which is fast forward. And it is a little reminiscent of a couple of other striped tops she's got, but it does have its own twist, like so many of hers do. So this one has sort of square handkerchief sides. The sides are longer than the front or back, and it's slightly asymmetrical. So you can see here where the triangles are. That gives you a little bit of a flare. The bust and arm and collar measurements are listed out, as well as the lengths.
And that's sized from a 30 all the way up to a 54 with very minimal positive ease.
Yeah. It's knit in a fingering weight yarn, I believe.
Yep.
Okay, sorry. I had to go get my eyes checked. Yeah, and so Laura already mentioned the sizes, but I do like how there's another picture later on it. Maybe it's later in the book, but the offset sections are solid versus striped, so it just gives it another little bit of interest. So then we're on to chromatic, which is the section that holds the pattern Laura is knitting right now.
So that's what I'm knitting right now. That's the Radiate pullover. So it's got that color work on the band. Mine's going to be a little bit more subtle than that. And
well, I think you chose something that works well for you, because this bright pink just pops with Hohi skin tone, and it would not do you any favors.
No, I think like on Hohi that looks great, and there are some other people who have knit it with like bright blues and stuff like that. I really would love to see this completely out of like a fleece and hand spun. I think that would be absolutely gorgeous. And I might knit it again. This is like my last. So yoked pullovers or yoked cardigans have not been super flattering on me in the past. Like they feel like they're always falling off my shoulders. So I was interested to try one last time with a pullover instead of a cardigan to see how that works. And it's I can tell you, it's very well written so far. It is sized all the way from a 30.5 up to 58 1/4. I'm knitting the 46. It says to choose a size with 2 inches of positive ease. I'm actually a 46, so I'm not doing any real positive ease, but I do know myself, and my swatches tend to lie, and I tend to end up with more positive ease because I'm a pretty loose knitter as a whole. So I am going with that, and if it doesn't fit me, then it will fit my mother. If it's too small, she's about a size smaller than me, so...
And so this is knit in about a DK weight.
Yep,
yarn.
I'm using a sport.
And again, all the schematics are great. It gives you everything that you need to know on sizing. And it gives you total yardage needed versus only in skeins of a specific yarn.
Yes.
So that you would have to do your own calculations, which is understandable when designers do it, but it's also kind of a pain. Then we've got Veera's pattern, which is tourmaline.
Which is kind of a cowl.
Yeah, it's like a cabled sort of tucked cowl, and it can be worn singly or doubly. And even it has a schematic.
Yep.
And it uses a sport weight yarn. It uses about 620 yards of a sport weight yarn. And the pattern is only a single page, so I doubt it's incredibly complicated. It's probably a really intelligent cable and easy to learn. And then we're on to Magpie.
This is the magic section.
Is it magic, not magpie?
It's magic.
Yeah, it is magic. You're absolutely correct.
Yep.
This is the color spell shawl.
It would be great for unicorn tails or bits and bobs of leftovers for sure. If you have if you've done like a bunch of Stephen West shawls and you have some leftovers, I feel like this would be perfect to use those up. It's got little pom-poms on the end, which make me giggle just a little bit.
Yeah, and she tells you how much of each particular color that you need.
Oh, she used unicorn tails.
She did.
There you go.
For some of the colors, a single unicorn tail is enough. For others, for colors 1 and 2, you need a little bit more yarn than a unicorn tail will give you.
Yep.
And for those that don't know, a unicorn tail is a Madeline Tosh. It's like a mini skein.
Yep. They come in 50-yard bundles. So that some of these use up to 100 or 250, and then some use 35.
Yeah. But I do like that she's got it all specifically labeled, including every color that she used. Because some people will want to make it exactly the way they've seen it. So lots of different texture and technique in this particular pattern. So it would be a good skill building thing. And there's no law that says you have to do it in different colors. If it's just a little too crazy for you, you could do it in a solid. Whatever makes you happy.
Yep. Double Trouble is the next. This is an interesting sweater because the back is one color and the front is another.
Yep.
You could definitely do it in one color if you want, but it's really, really cool how it is. It uses a Lopi yarn. It's sized from a 32 up to a 52 with 1 to 2 inches of positive ease.
Yep.
It is a cardigan with a button down front.
Yep, and it's knit out of a worsted weight. Again, it uses Lopi, but you could use, your favorite worsted weight. I do think it's cool that it's 2 totally different colors.
Yeah. It's that color blocking.
Yeah. I like it. I don't know what else to say about it. I like it. I dig it, but it makes me think.
Yep.
Which is good.
And I think there's going to be a lot of mattress stitch in that because you're sewing together those 2 colors throughout.
Yeah. And then next we've got Fragile, which is a pullover by Veera.
This is the Little Bird pullover. So Fragile's the word.
Okay, sorry.
Little Bird pullovers, the sweater by Veera.
Yes. And I'll come back to Hohi's pattern in a second. So it's got all these really different lace
Textures,
and textured sections.
It looks like it's a fingering weight.
Yeah, it's styled really prettily.
The styling on this book's excellent. 38 up to a 58 with 8 to 10 inches positive ease. So you're going to have a lot of positive ease on this
and it's
one.
a lace weight. It's knitted in a lace weight yarn. It's probably most similar to sort of a boxy style where it's kind of oversized, but it's meant to drape in a very pleasant way. And Laura already mentioned sizing. So I dig that it's got a little bit of lace in it. I like that.
I don't know that that's that oversized on a model, though.
Yeah, I don't think it is quite as large as like your typical boxy would be.
I just don't see that being 8 to 10, but I think the lace weight can also be deceptive because you're not getting the heaviness of the drape.
This is true. 8 to 10 inches, yeah, that's what it calls for, but it doesn't look like it's quite that big on Veera. But it could just be because we're looking at side shots versus straight on. I think the only straight on photo is part of the written pattern, and we don't want to show that. So the other pattern in this particular section is called Wishes, and it's sort of a high-low drapey cardigan.
It's 100% silk. So it does use like a fingering weight, but it's a new yarn from Malabrigo called Mora. Which is 100% silk, so it's going to give you, I really, really dig it. It's going to give you a lot of drape. I don't think that you would get quite the results, though, if you were using a wool.
Yeah, I agree. The wool would be a little bouncier, whereas this is, yeah, like Laura said, it's a drapey, sort of silky cardigan.
Very open fronts.
Yeah, so size from 28-30 up to 54-56. No ease, yeah.
Because the silk's going to grow on you. It's not going to have any bounce back either.
Right, that's true. And it does give the measurements for the large bell section at the bottom, which is helpful, but you'll want to go with the bust size like it mentions when choosing a size. And then our next section includes, this is direction. And this is one of my favorite Joji pieces.
So this is the East or West pullover.
Mm-hmm.
And it is changing directions on you, which is really, really cool. It looks like it's knit sideways.
Yep.
And then the sleeves are knit the opposite direction.
So it is knit out of a fingering weight yarn. And you use 3 different colors, sized from 39 to 61 inches.
With 8 to 10 inches positive ease. So this is more of a boxy style sweater. I just dig the colors that she puts things together in. It's yeah,
really
it would be a
pretty.
great stash buster because it uses 3 colors. So if you have 2 skeins of each or even one if you're a smaller size and a fingering weight, you probably could get a sweater out of it.
Yeah. And it gives you the exact yardage that you would need for each particular one. It is knit on a size 2.5 needle. Oof.
It's a lot of knitting on a 2.5.
Yeah, it is, but it's so pretty.
It's gorgeous.
It's the dream I want. Forget the sweater. I want the dream. Then we've got Veera's shawl, which is a flyaway twist.
This.
I do too. I dig it a lot.
So that page 91, it has a really good picture of it. Go back up one more. There you go. That's it stretched out.
Yeah, so it's brioche and garter and a solid edge. And we've got another sort of beauty shot here.
It's really, really pretty.
Gosh, they use bold colors really well. So this uses a it's fingering weight yarn.
Yep.
And it's a single size.
It's 780 yards of fingering weight, 390 of each color. So if you have 2 skeins in your stash that would complement each other, this would be a great way to use them up.
Yeah, a really good contrast. So, and then we've got the hidden section. And so this one has the side-by-side shawl and the monochrome.
Yep.
So we'll start with monochrome, and this is a Joji pattern.
It's a cowl with some lace work, different lace textures to it. It's a big old tube. It uses 2 skeins of Bellow by Plucky Knitter, which is a merino cashmere, and they use the fingering weight version of that because there are different versions of that. It's 34 inch circumference by 22 inches tall, which is really, really tall. It's going to have like a good slouch drape to it for sure.
Yeah, and 34 inches is enough to wrap it around twice if you're really cold. Although it would probably be a bit snug. But, so we'll move on to Side by Side with Veera Vaalimaki. Veera always does some really interesting directional types of items, which I dig. So this one is the Side by Side shawl. And it's
an interesting shape.
Yeah, it's knit sideways, and it looks like garter stitch for the most part.
Uses a mohair wool blend, which is interesting too.
Like the one that I'm knitting uses a mohair.
Yeah.
And it's, so it is a fingering weight.
It's around 900 yards of a fingering weight.
And it is 80 inches long by 23.5 inches deep. So it's a nice, big, substantial shawl.
Wrap-around shawl.
To wrap around yourself. With lots of really interesting direction changes. So, again, this is Interpretations Volume 4. It's by these 2 ladies, Veera and Joji, who get together every year and do a photo shoot, usually with themselves as the models wearing their items. So, it's a great collaboration, and they really have interesting designs, and they keep it fresh, and they keep it sort of on trend, which can be difficult when you have to plan so far ahead because they're in completely separate countries.
Yep, and they're in different hemispheres as well.
Yeah.
So it's like summer right now where Joji is, and it's winter where Veera is.
Yeah. So they have got some mad planning skills, let me tell you. And if you're going to SKP in Portland, you'll see both of them plus both of us in just a couple weeks, and we are stoked about it. So
we are.
We were sent this for review, so we thank Hohi and Veera for that. If you're interested in your own copy, it is €20, and you can purchase the digital version on Ravelry.
Yep.
So now
that's a good one.
We will go back, and oops, I don't want to do that.
So we're reading some stuff.
Yep.
I'll go first because I have a lot. So I've been reading some crazy junk books. Not crazy, but they remind me a lot of the Jana Ivanovich One for the Money. So if you're familiar with that series, they're called the Hollywoods Files. They take place in Texas. And I'm enjoying I like the Jana Ivanovich type books, and the main character in this is a private investigator. So it's got a lot of similar elements and similar themes. So they're really good. And I've been reading a ton of really good kids, some middle grade novels this past week. So I read Flying Lessons, which was published by the We Need Diverse Books people. It is a collection of short stories, really, really good, diverse short stories. I think my favorite was the Matt De La Pena one in there, which is about basketball, but some really, really good stuff. I read Ms. Bixby's Last Day, which was sad, but good. It is about a teacher who is, it's funny, it's from 3 boys' points of view, and it switches. And they're in the 6th grade, and their 6th grade teacher has had some kind of direct impact on their life, whether it's one of them's father is paralyzed and there's no mother in the picture, and she sees him one day walking with all his groceries, so she picks him up, and every Friday after that they go grocery shopping together after school, so he doesn't have to walk 2 miles with the groceries. Or she keeps a file of the one boy. It's all these drawings that he just throws away, but he's a wonderful artist, and she's very encouraging towards him. And then the last one kind of has helicopter parents, and his older sister always does everything right, and he's just full of all this random knowledge. But he's never as good in his parents' eyes as his older sister. And she's very encouraging and understanding to them. And it turns out she's got cancer.
Of course she does.
I know. It's so sad. It's a good book, though. So they decide to do like a Ferris Bueller type. They skip school, and a couple... I know I'm like tearing up.
I can hear your voice.
It's so good, though. She's in the hospital, and she's dying, basically. She's dying. And so they decide she had them write like journal entries about like their perfect last day. And before she was even diagnosed, early on in the school year. And she tells the kids what her perfect last day would be. So they decide to make that true. It's really, really, really well written. Really good. So anyway, that's a good one.
I was going to say.
But it's a tearjerker, obviously. Like, it's really good. I'm shocked that and Ghost by Jason Reynolds did not get nods for Newberries this year, but can't win everything. Really, really good. And then I read Scar Island, which is totally different. It's kind of like a cross between Holes and Matilda in some ways. It's about this boy who's committed a crime, and we don't find out till the end what he's committed. And it also has the Lord of the Flies type element to it. So he's sent to this prison type school, which is on an island in the middle of nowhere. And through a fluke accident, as the adults are very like Matilda-ish, like there's a chokey type thing. Through this fluke accident, all the adults are killed on the island.
Oh.
And they have to decide, the boys, and it's like these 12 or 14, it's like 14 boys between the ages of 10 and 14. They have to decide if they're going to hide the bodies and kind of run the island on their own, or if they're going to tell the adults that come and get the mail later, or if they're going to, trick them. And they end up tricking them and hiding the bodies and running the island on their own. And it does at that point become very like Lord of the Flies almost. But it's good. It's very like quick paced if you have a reluctant reader. I hate the term reluctant reader, but if you have a child who likes more fast paced action type. And then it also goes into, by the end, why he was sent to the island. And then today I read Frog Kisser by Garth Nix. It reminds me a lot of Dealing with Dragons by Patricia Weird. It is a story of this princess whose older sister is going to be the queen, but through a fluke, both the parents have died, and the mother died and the father remarried, so there's a stepmother, and then the father died and the stepmother remarried this evil duke who keeps turning people into frogs. And so she goes on a quest, and they call her the Frog Kisser because she's going on this quest to make this magic lip balm that when she kisses them, she doesn't have to be their true love. It turns them back into what they were. In the meantime, she's trying to defeat this evil duke, and the quest just keeps getting more and more complicated as they go. It was good. It's not as good as Dealing with Dragons, but it's still good if you have someone. All these are middle grade appropriate, but I should have saved Mrs. Bixby's Last Day for the last one that I talked about. It's so good that all of these have been really good, for different types of readers, for sure. Anyway, that's what I've been reading. Lots of middle grade stuff. I have to choose my next middle grade book.
So I've been listening to the Throne of Glass series. I'm finally caught up to the final book that's out, which is called Empire of Storms. I'm listening to these on audiobook versus reading them. And just started Empire of Storms earlier today, so I'm not very far in that. But I am reading a good book, and it's the first book in a series, and it's on Kindle Unlimited. It was a recommendation for me. It's called The Weaving Man, and it's listed as like epic fantasy / steampunk, although
Steampunk's the best.
I'm about almost halfway through this first book, and so far there hasn't been any steampunk elements. But it's really good. It's about this kingdom, and the queen of the kingdom is completely mad and a drunk, and she gives birth, and she sends the baby off immediately to some remote part of her kingdom with an assassin to take care of her.
It's very Snow White.
Yeah, and so the story is how he, that becomes his mission in life, and he loves this little girl like she's his own daughter, and built this entire community around her, basically. It doesn't sound as interesting as it is. I have a hard time. I've been reading it for a few days, and I have a hard time putting it down and going to sleep. It's pretty good. I'm enjoying it a lot. So, and that's called The Weaving Man. I don't know what the series is called. What else?
You've got a lot of sewing.
I sewed a shirt. This is called the Lane Raglan. It's made out of like a knit jersey. Yeah, it's pretty easy. This is 5 pieces, so the front and back in a solid, and the sleeves in another solid. You could do it in the same color.
Or you could do a crazy print.
And the neckband. Yeah, or for the mane, and then do a solid sleeve. The pattern is called Lane Raglan. I found it on indiesew.com. It was something that came up in Pinterest, and so of course I went down that rabbit hole. I think the pattern is like $10 or $11, and it comes as a digital. You can buy it as a paper pattern. I just buy it as a digital and then print out the pages I need, and then you sew them all. You tape them all together and all that. It is the first moderately successful piece of clothing for myself that I have sewn. It has some issues, like it gathers a little more than I would like at the collar, but I think that's because I cut the collar a little bit shorter than it needed to be, so I had to stretch a lot more. Lesson learned for next time.
Yeah.
But Michael was impressed that I made a thing, a usable, immediate thing. So he's requested
nothing else that you make is usable.
Yeah. Well, it just for him it takes so long that it outweighs the benefit of just.
So are you gonna sew him a raglan too?
It isn't really sized for men, so I might find an alternate, for men.
Yeah.
And see. I don't know.
Sounds like we should go to Joann's.
Yeah, I do need to get because I have like 3 color combinations I wanted it in, but I usually, when that crazy new craft thing strikes, I'm like, I'm going to buy all the supplies for it, even though I haven't done one thing successfully yet. But this time I managed to just buy enough for one shirt. And if that one worked, then I would go back and get more. So I do need to go back and get more.
Cool.
But I've also been doing some quilting. First, Laura mentioned this, so I'll talk about it. I got these at the Joann's in New Jersey.
They sell them. They
sell them everywhere. Yeah, they're like these little scrapbook
yeah.
cases. And
I thought that was super clever that she was keeping her stuff in that.
I find them really useful for quilt tops because you have so many. Not once they're assembled, but when you're cutting the fabric and sewing bits and pieces together. But if you've got multiple quilt tops going on, then it's easy to keep them sort of in separate containers for me. And these were, I think normally they're like $9, but I usually get them on sale when they're like $4 or $5. So I've been doing so much cutting for Postcards from Sweden, which is a free pattern, and I've linked it in the show notes. And it's basically just a bajillion different half square triangles. So this is one section of them. So it's 12 by 12 squares, and each square is made of 2 triangles. So there were 256 total half square triangles, 144 total squares. So there were 36 fabrics. If you're counting, I'm sorry, I've totally screwed you up. But there were 36 fabrics that come with it, and out of each...
Did you say that you bought the kit at
I'm sorry, yes. I bought the kit from the Loopy U. Although that's just if you want to use the exact colors from the pattern as written. You can use whatever colors you want. For me, there was just no way
that you were going to match up all those colors.
Yeah. I'm terrible at making decisions, and then I would have had to change the numbers in the pattern and the colors they referenced, and it just would have never happened. It would have been a disaster. So I had just bought the kit from Loopy a couple years ago. So it has you matching up all these. You cut the squares out, and then you cut the squares into triangles, and then you sew the triangles back together. Then you have to press them out, which I've done for some. I've done for 2 rows worth. And I've still got to do it for 10 more rows worth times 12, so 120 more squares I've got to press. And then once I've pressed them, then I'll have to sew the rows together. And then...
So this is a quick project.
It is. No time at all. Although it took a lot more time in the cutting than it will take in actually sewing it together. But it's a really pretty pattern. Let me grab it real quick. I printed it out over here. And some people may not know what it looks like. So this is from Jelly Quilts. And this is what it looks like.
Really pretty.
So it sort of looks like a pixelated photograph. And I'll just show you one of the schematics. So like this is a list of, I'm only going to show you part of it. You need this many squares out of this color if you're making this size. And then I'll show you a teeny tiny section. So this is what the layout looks like. And then each square is made up of different colors. And each color is assigned a number. And so you would put it together that way. So again, if I were trying to do this and substituting colors, it would be a disaster. It would never happen. But yeah, so I've got to do the pressing, and then I'll be able to finally put the blocks into rows and then sew the rows together. No promises on when that'll be done. Hopefully not too long. The backing will be incredibly simple because the front is so crazy complicated.
Oh yeah.
And this is one I'm keeping for myself because it's
Good.
way too much work.
Are you going to send it off to be quilted, or are you going to quilt it?
Because, don't get me wrong, it would be really beautiful in a super fancy stitch, but because it's so uniform in the cuts, all the rows and all the columns are exactly the same, I'm just going to do stitch in the ditch straight through the lines.
Okay. I was going to say, because we could go on a field trip to Mom and Dad's.
Yeah.
You could use Mom's machine.
I do want to do that at some point for a weekend.
We could do it. But not in May or June, because they're busy, yo.
Seriously. Maybe in April while she's recouping from her stuff.
Well, I'm going for Easter. You're welcome to come with me.
Maybe.
Curl and I are both going.
So yeah, that's the other thing that I've been doing is all the cutting for postcards from Sweden. And I do have triangles left over, which I'm not sure if I'm supposed to. I'm going to wait until all the rows are put together and see if I just missed something. But I've got them set aside. If I don't use them in the top of the quilt, I may do just a couple of little squares on the back for something interesting.
Yeah. You could do that. What's the friend thing that you go do?
Friendship braid.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Maybe. I have done that on the quilts that I've given away. Not all of them, but some of them.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all I've got.
Cool.
You have anything else this week?
No. We will be doing the drawing for our Patreon supporters next week. So thank you, everyone who's a Patreon supporter.
Yes, it makes a difference. It is appreciated, genuinely. I've really got to get the stuff from the South visit up because that was October. It's just been a lot busier than I expected it to be. But anyway, excuses are no fun. Genuine thanks to those of you who are able to contribute through Patreon, and thank you to everyone who's watched us for...
And we'll try to get a new live podcast up. Or not a live podcast, but
a chat.
A chat at some point.
Yeah, it would have to be before SKP, probably. Yep. Maybe the weekend before. I'll look at my calendar and Michael's because he has to be able to run interference with Kobe if anything comes up. But I think that's it.
Think so. We're going to go watch some Great British Bake Off so I can get some knitting in. This is all your fault, Susan.
It's a tough life, but, All right. You guys have a lovely week. And next time we see you, I will have a 14-year-old instead of a 13-year-old.
And that'll be my birthday month.
That's true. More importantly, it'll be Laura's birthday month. So, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all. Bye, y'all.